Well, we're live. Something a little different tonight. Going to run it on Twitch and also on, what's that? Hey there. How are you? How you doing?
Hi.
Good.
Hold on, I have to sit down. Okay, here we go. Will we sitting here?
So you got two angles tonight. Cucala mia, where is she?
She's tired. She hasn't had a rest today. Oh, Lennox has it on too. Look, Lennox has his big pajama shirt on. That's so funny. And you didn't even plan it. Look. That's so funny.
Okay, guys. So here's the book we're going to do, and it's in two parts because it is kind of long, like the last time, right?
Yeah, we could just do maybe a half of it then.
We're going to do half the book. It's 15 pages, but it only takes about maybe 5 to 7 minutes or so.
Okay, I'm gonna put this on mute.
Yeah.
Listen.
Well, I don't mind all the giggling. What do you guys? It's up to you. But okay, so we'll get started. So this one is called Piglet is entirely surrounded by water. Pretty good. Okay, so let's start. It rained and it rained and it rained. Piglet told himself that never in his life, and he was goodness knows how old, 3, was it 4 or 4, never had seen so much rain. Days and days and days. If only, he thought as he looked out the window, I'd been in Pooh's house, or Christopher Robin's house, or Rabbit's house, when it began to rain. Then I should have had company all this time, instead of being here all alone. Nothing to do except wonder, when will it stop? And he imagined himself with Pooh saying, did you ever see such rain, Pooh? And Pooh saying, isn't it awful, Piglet? And Piglet saying, I wonder how it is over at Christopher Robin's way. And Pooh saying, I should think poor old Rabbit is about flooded out by this time. It would have been jolly to talk like this, and really it wasn't much good having anything exciting like floods if you couldn't share them with somebody. For it was rather exciting. The little dry ditches in which Piglet had nosed about so often had become streams, and little streams across which he had splashed were rivers, and the rivers whose steep banks they had played so happily had sprawled out of its own bed and was taking up so much room everywhere that Piglet was beginning to wonder whether it would be coming into his bed soon. It was a little anxious, he said to himself, to be a very small animal, entirely surrounded by water. Christopher Robin and Pooh could escape by climbing trees, Kanga could escape by jumping, and Rabbit could escape by burrowing, and Owl could escape by flying, and Eeyore, he could escape by making a loud noise until rescued, and here am I, surrounded by water, and I can't do anything." It went on raining, and every day the water got a little higher, until now it was nearly up to Piglet's window, and still he hadn't done anything. "There's Pooh," he thought to himself. "Pooh hasn't much brain, but he never comes to any harm. He does silly things, and they turn out right. There's Owl. There's Owl there. Owl hasn't exactly got brain, but he knows things. He would know the right thing to do when surrounded by water. There's Rabbit. He hasn't learnt in books, but he can always think of clever plan. There's Kanga. She isn't clever. Kanga isn't, but she would be so anxious about Roo that she would do a good thing to do without thinking about it. And then there's Eeyore. And Eeyore is so miserable anyhow that he wouldn't mind about this. But I wonder about Christopher Robin would do." Then suddenly he remembered a story which Christopher Robin had told him about a man. On a very long sigh and said, wait a minute, we missed a page, guys. Oop. A man on a desert island who had written something in a bottle and thrown it in the sea. And Piglet thought that if he wrote something in a bottle and threw it in the water, perhaps somebody would come and rescue him. He left the window and he began to search his house, all of it that wasn't underwater, and last he found a pencil and a small piece of dry paper and a bottle with a cork in it. And he wrote on one side of the paper, "Help, Piglet, me," and on the other side, "It's me, Piglet, help, help." Then he put the paper in the bottle and he corked the bottle up as tightly as he could and leaned out his window as far as he could lean without falling in, and then threw the bottle so far as he could throw, splash, and in a little while it bobbed up again on the water, and he watched it floating slowly away in the distance until his eyes ached with looking, and sometimes he thought it was the bottle, and sometimes he thought it was just a ripple on the water which he was following, and then suddenly he knew that he would never see it again, and that he had done all that he could to save himself. So now he thought, everybody else will have to do something, and I hope they will do it soon, because if they don't, I shall have to swim, which I can't. So I hope they do it soon. And then he gave a very long sigh and said, I wish Pooh were here. It's so much more friendly with two. When the rain began, Pooh was asleep. It rained, and it rained, and it rained. And he slept, and he slept, and he slept. He had had a tiring day. You remember how he discovered the North Pole. Well, he was so proud of this that he asked Christopher Robin if there were any other poles such as a bear of little brain might discover. There's a South Pole, said Christopher Robin, and I expect there's an East Pole and a West Pole. Thought, though people don't like talking about it, Pooh was very excited when he heard this and suggested that they should have an expedition. That's spelled wrong there, expedition, that they should have, but Christopher Robin had thought of something else to do with Kanga. So Pooh went out to discover the East Pole by himself. Whether he discovered it or not, I forget. But he was so tired when he got home that in the very middle of supper, after he had been eating for a little more than half an hour, he fell fast asleep in his chair. And he slept, and he slept, and he slept. Then suddenly he was dreaming, and he was at the East Pole, and it was very cold. with the coldest sort of snow and ice all over it. He had found a beehive to sleep in, but there wasn't room for his legs, so he had left them outside. And wild woozles, such as inhabit the East Pole, came and nibbled all the fur off his legs to make nests for their young. More they nibbled, the colder his legs got, until suddenly he woke up with an ooh. And there he was, sitting in his chair with his feet in the water and water all around him. He splashed to his door and looked out. "This is serious," said Pooh. "I must have to an escape." And so he took his largest pot of honey and he escaped with it to a broad branch of his tree, well above the water, and then he climbed down and escaped with another pot. And when the whole escape was finished, there was Pooh sitting on his branch, dangling his legs, and there beside him were 10 pots of honey. 2 days later, there was Pooh sitting on the branch, dangling his legs, and there beside him was 1 pot of honey. 4 days later, there was Pooh, and it was on the morning of the 4th day that Piglet's bottle came floating past. Look at all the honey on the tree branch. The bottle came floating past him, and with one loud cry of "Honey!" Pooh plunged into the water, seized the bottle, and struggled back to his tree again. "Bother," said Pooh as he opened it. "All that wet for nothing? What's that bit of paper doing?" He took it out and looked at it. "It's a message," he said to himself. That's what it is. And that letter is P. And so is that. And so is that. And P means Pooh. So it's very important. A message to me. And I can't read it. I must find Christopher Robin or Owl or Piglet, one of those clever readers who can read things, and they will tell me what this message means. Only I can't swim. Brother. Then he had an idea, and I think that for a bear, a very little brain, it was a good idea. He said to himself, if a bottle can float, then a jar can float. And if a jar can float, I can sit on top of it. If it's a very big jar. So he took the largest jar, corked it up. All boats have to have a name, he said. So I shall call mine the Floating Bear. When with these words he dropped his boat into the water and jumped in after it. Now we're at the halfway mark, guys. Do you want to have another page or two? Because I don't know if anybody's tired yet. What's the word? I can't hear anybody. You're all got your mics off.
Leia, we have to get Leia to get ready for bed.
Okay, well, I can read this to the boys, and Leia can watch it on YouTube in a couple days, if that's okay with Leia. Leia, is that okay, honey? Huh?
She won't go unless I turn it off.
Okay. All right, so we can do part 2 tomorrow night if you guys want to, because it's such a good story. And if we wait too long, everybody's going to forget. Well, look, it's only, let me see. We're on page 17, 18. So 1, 2, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it's getting longer. It's a little bit longer for a little girl who's 4. Are you 4? You're not 4 yet, are you?
How old are you? Only 3, right?
You're still 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got the Pokemon cards, I see. Alright, so Sydney, you okay with that? Maybe tomorrow night we can do it again? We'll finish this one off. Tomorrow, yeah. Is that okay?
I think I'm a little bit. No, I don't think I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be going to a hockey place.
Hmm.
Why are we eating?
Why don't we just see tomorrow around dinner time if it works, Dad? And if not, we'll just have to wait.
Penny.
He's having apple.
Yes. Why are we eating?
What are you eating? He's eating apple before bed. That's a good snack.
Yum.
Alright guys. So,
Okay, Dad.
well, I'm glad we got to see some of it anyway, so.
Yeah, it's a nice story so far. Hey, Lennox. Bless you. Okay, well, we can see you tomorrow. Maybe touch base around dinner time, and if it doesn't work, then we wait till Sunday.
Yeah, I'm okay. We can do it whenever you guys are ready. Just have to remember, you know, the kids got to get to bed too, so that's fine.
Oh, you know what? I have a dentist appointment after school tomorrow.
Alright, let's just play it by ear. I lost you.
Okay, we'll talk later.
We'll play it by ear and we'll see what we can do after, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so good night everybody there.
Okay, see you. Have a good night.
All
Have a good
right.
week, everyone.
Bye. Bye guys. Okay, there you go guys. But I still have my Twitch people around, I hope. That was a good little story for my grandkids. And